Sometimes you need a treat for winter days inside, snuggled up with your favorite book and a cup of tea. What goes well with that? Rosemary lemon cookies. Rosemary is a delicious herb for cooking, looks lovely in a vase, and is pretty easy to grow, either in the garden in full sun or on a sunny windowsill indoors. In folk medicine, rosemary is connected with better memory, and apparently, in ancient Greece, students would tuck sprigs of rosemary behind their ears to help them study.
I think it's working.
For rosemary lemon cookies, you will, of course, need rosemary and zest of 1 lemon. Additionally, you'll need flour, sugar, vegan butter, and a generous pinch of salt. If you don't have fresh rosemary, you can use dried. I'd use about half a teaspoon dried. Since I'm using fresh, I'm using 10 centimeter long piece. I'm turning what I don't use into cuttings, so next year I'll have even more rosemary. Cut into pieces around 5 to 6 centimeters long and remove all but a few leaves. The few leaves that do remain, cut those in half. We're trying to minimize the possibility of drying out. Generally, taking cuttings is a race between them drying out at the top or developing roots at the bottom. There are powders you can buy that help with rooting, but generally I just take more cuttings than I need plants, and while not all, usually enough take root and turn into plants. Any rosemary leaves that you removed can be used for cooking, of course. Water in well and keep in a bright spot, but not in direct sunlight. Since rosemary is quite slow growing, it'll take a few weeks, but eventually you will see new growth. Once the cutting has developed into a strong little plant, you can either move them to their own pot or plant them in a flower bed. Now back to baking. Remove the woody parts and chop the leaves as fine as possible, or chop until you get bored and decide it's good enough. Then zest 1 lemon. Get out a large bowl and add flour and sugar. Cut the vegan butter into cubes and add it as well. Use a fork to push the butter into the dry ingredients. Keep going until you get a crumbly mix. Add rosemary and lemon zest and mix in well. Have a bit of cold water handy to add by the spoonful, just in case the dough doesn't want to come together. Once the fork isn't doing anything anymore, start using your hands. The warmth of your skin will melt the butter, just enough to make this crumbly mess into a coherent dough. And there we are. Didn't even need any extra water. Get out a sheet of baking paper, wrap the dough and put it in the fridge for an hour. Good time for a tea break. So the dough has been in the fridge and the 1 hour is just a minimum. You can leave it overnight and it'll allow the flavors of rosemary and lemon to develop a bit. Preheat the oven at 150 degrees Celsius. Roll out the dough between 2 sheets of baking paper until it is half a centimeter thick. Using a cookie cutter or your grandmother's crème de menthe glass, cut out the cookies. Put the cookies on a cookie sheet, hence the name, and bake in the oven at 150 degrees Celsius for 12 to 15 minutes. Moving on to the second round, roll out the dough, cut into cookies, remove the excess dough, and do all that a couple of times until the dough is used up. Doesn't quite fit here. Not over there either. Oh, screw it. And one big old cookie, because why not? Put the second lot in the oven to bake. And I got so distracted cutting out cookies that I totally forgot about the ones that were already baking. But we're good. Browned but not burnt. That's the sweet spot. Let the cookies cool fully before moving them onto a plate. Thank you so much for watching. If you decide to make these cookies, let me know how they turned out. And if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? And I had the big one for breakfast one day. It was, and I do not say this lightly, almost too big.